After 8 years of the nomadic life, involving crossing oceans in a 34-foot Sabre, refitting an aluminum boat, and then taking that to the Arctic Circle, we're back at it again with a brand new build. This is Matt and I'm Jessica. Make sure to hit the subscribe button and join us every week as we start our newest project of building a 42-foot catamaran from the ground up.
We're really lucky that we're now at the stage where there are 15, 20 things going on at one time, so we're able to jump from job to job. It is freezing cold right now. There's a blizzard warning, so not a good time to fiberglass, but luckily we've got, as I said, we've got a ton of other things, other projects that we can work on. Since we started building those engine beds, I need to get the location, the exact location of where the prop shaft is going to come out, where the engine needs to sit, and where the engine mounts are going to be. So to do that, downloaded the little spec sheet off of the Yanmar website for our engines, and it goes through and gives all those locations, all that. The engine's 302 pounds, I think. So trying to put that into place and move it around and stuff like that is just too much work. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to make just a template. So this is going to be a mock-up of the base of the engine. So this is the actual length of the engine from basically the coupler on the front to the aft end or the front end of the actual engine itself. And so now I just need to make it the correct width, and this will be act as, again, as that template for it. This does give us all those pieces of information. So we are able to see where the engine mount attaches, and how much of a drop there actually is before where the center of the coupler, where the prop shaft actually goes. And so we're just going to make, again, mounts for that. It's going to raise it up here, and then we'll just do a little gun sight fore and aft. So we're able to do that sight line then, and make sure that we're getting everything nice and straight. From the coupler to the center of the first mount, basically this guy here, is 178.5 millimeters. So measure that out, and then the next one from that point is 355 millimeters. So we're going to measure out those center lines, and then we'll just put pieces to attach them. So we can attach our engine mounts here, and then we'll have that kind of all set up. I'll go and put this in place. Starting to see my breath bad now. Okay, looks just like an engine, doesn't it? There it is. Okay, so there it is. This is that proper drop, so it's the same level as what the base of the engine would be, except for there's a little bit of a gap there. It's 13.7 millimeters. It's the thickness of this MDF board that I'm using right now. And what that's going to allow me to do is put my little gun sights, like I was talking about earlier, mount those, one on the center line here, and then another one, little V-shaped thing on the end here. And so when it's time, I can sight down this and get exact location of, once this is all in place, get this exact location of where the strut is going to be, where the prop shaft is going to be, and hopefully it will allow me to make sure that I get this all set in the proper position before we go through and glass everything up, before we go through start drilling more holes, all that kind of stuff. So that's the whole idea here. So I'm just going to quickly mount these little guys in place, and then it should be ready to try out in the hall. So the way this is set up is that 13 millimeter, 13.7 millimeter drop that I have with here for the extra thickness of this MDF. This is exactly 13.7 above that surface. So that's going to go down here. The center line of this hole is exactly 13.7 from there. That will go down here. We can use a laser pointer. We can use, a lot of times I've seen it done with a fish line or a wire or something like that. Now for our back little gun sight thing. Alright, so this is the finished product. As you can see, it's going to shoot through that line. We'll put the laser through there, through that line, through this hole down here, get exactly that precision that we need. You can also see that these motor mounts are all the way down in the lowest position. Now, just from the weight of the engine, that 302 pounds is going to compress these down 4.5 millimeters. So already in this position, once that engine weight goes on there, this will be 4.5 millimeters lower. So we're compensated for that. And as you can see, we have a lot of adjustment that can go up and down. And again, that's before putting any shims or anything like that. So we should be able to get this extremely precise in place and be able to duplicate that in both of the hulls. And then again, find out where that strut goes, where the prop shaft goes, and get all those holes drilled. So flyby.
Really quick, we'd like to say thank you to Athletic Greens for sponsoring this video. As you know, I am in the throes of endless sanding and fairing, which is, in general, a very tiring task. Thankfully, I'm continuing my daily habit of AG1 through Athletic Greens, and in this little bottle is 75 vitamins, minerals, whole food sourced ingredients, probiotics, prebiotics, and antioxidants. Basically, everything you need to bridge all of those gaps in your diet. Plus, it gives me the energy I need to keep going each day, and even helps my body recover faster. So even though each night might have me looking like this, I'm never going to work on that boat again. Somehow, each morning I wake up refreshed and ready to take on the day. Yeah, let's do this! I'm building a catamaran! Woo! I have even personalized my bottle because I've started a few other people at the marina here on AG1, and I want to make sure that ours don't get mixed up. So if you would like to take this easy step to getting more energy, faster recovery, gut health, and so many other benefits, make sure to check out athleticgreens.com/MJSailing and sign up for their immunity bundle, which is going to get you, of course, your Athletic Greens, plus the canister, the bottle, 5 travel packs, and a 1-year supply of vitamin D drops. For more information, make sure to check out our description box below. And now, back to our video.
These are the backing plates for our motor mounts. It was cheapest to buy them in foot-long sections. I really don't need a foot-long, so I am cutting off this little short section here. As you can see, gotten 4 so far. We have 8 total that we're doing. The reason why I'm cutting them off instead of leaving them long is each one of these weighs, that's got to be close to a pound. So if I can eliminate 8 pounds out of this, it is well worth it. But borrowed our friend's Portaband bandsaw. Real simple, real easy setup to work. And we'll just cut these down And then each one of these are going to get tapped, drilled and tapped for our motor mounts. They will be glassed over and be integral, actually part of that engine bed itself, and that's where the mounts are going to attach. Roughly there. Let's see what it actually does weigh. Zero it out.
Okay.
Yeah, a pound. Man! That was damn close. So yeah, we'll save 8 pounds by cutting these down. Well worth it. And I get to play with another cool tool.
And we're going to take the long way through to go see Matt because the heater's blocking my other entrance right now. So I'm going to slide down the aft staircase, walk through the guest head, up toward the forward berth, and Matt, oh wow, look at that. All of our shelves in place, and Matt is doing the coves right now so they can get tacky over lunch.
Yeah. Working on getting the forward shelves in, so all of that storage that we're really excited about, we're able to take advantage of it and just can start ferrying out this area and getting it all set. One of the things that we run into, of course, and a lot of you have asked about that, is how we're going to do wiring runs and so on, and how we're going to have access to that. And if you look in this area, you can kind of see that it's going to be bottom of the storage area. Wires will actually run through this area. In here, there'll be penetrations through the hull, conduit ran through there, or through the bulkheads, and conduit ran through there, and then a false floor will come in, so it's still accessible, still something that I can run water lines and so on. There shouldn't be a need for it forward of this, but our water tank is right there, basically, and the windlass and all that kind of stuff is up there, so it's nice to be able to have an area to be able to get through and get those important things like water and power into those forward compartments. So something we're working on right now, getting that all set. We'll get them blasted into place, and then we can start moving our way aft.
Yep. So he's got his little bag of the Total Boat structural polyester putty. He's going to do the coves along there, and then after lunchtime for glassing. And if you want to kind of see a more finished version of this, we've just done it in our master vanity, doing the covers behind the cabinet and toilet there. So let me run you over there and show you what I've been working on lately. Very important bubble wrapped door to keep the heat in. Needs to warm up just a little bit. So this is the area that I have been working in for maybe the past 4 or 5 days now. I had gone through originally, I can't remember if I had showed it, and just kind of like done some of the tape edges before Matt put the shelves in. But now that the shelves are in, I'm going through and doing more of like a final version with our Total Boat polyester fairing compound. I'm starting to run out a little bit, so you can see like this is still the green foam, but once it gets applied here, just trying to get a fair surface and get it ready for painting. And it's super fun when I get to stick myself all the way back there and try and like work on the overhead and the backs. Definitely working on my contortionist skills. But what you may have seen from videos before is that these are going to have 2 sliding doors. So I think this is going to be like regular everyday vanity stuff, these 2 shelves. The top there will probably just be things we don't use often. This will be like bedding, towels. I mean, obviously you can tell it's a big space, and as Matt said, this has a cutout, which is going to get us access to plumbing, which is going to run along this very dusty, I didn't vacuum yesterday after sanding, but the chamfered panel, because all of our wires are going to be running along these areas instead of under the floor here. Got quite the collection of tools going there.
Yes, I do. Filming?
Uh-huh.
Well, kind of a big moment now. We're going to drill through the hull, kind of exploratory, just to make sure I'm getting the right angle and everything, before we glass in this engine bed. And it's once and for all in here. Got to make sure that this is going to be the right approach and the right angle and all that stuff. So my template is in place. I have roughly where these blocks are going to go. This is the correct position of where the engine's going to be. The big idea now is just finding out exactly where this line, where the center line, where the crankshaft basically comes through, or where the transmission and the coupling is in line with that, and where it's going to go through with our prop shaft. So we do need to find out exactly where that stern tube is going to be before we glass that thing into place, the actual length that we need, all that kind of stuff. And it's really hard to do it when you're just imagining a line going through here, so the best way to do it is to drill. So what you see is this little gun sight here with our line along it, which is the correct height of in line with where actually the transmission reduction here goes. And then a hole up front here, which I don't know if you can see from there.
Should be.
Yep, okay. So the idea is to just pull and hold this line and find out exactly where it hits center of this little piece here. And what that does is tells me that right at the bottom where that string is touching along this bulkhead is the position of where our stern tube, the middle of our stern tube is going to be. So right where that prop shaft is going to come through is right here. So that's where we're going to be drilling. The way that I set this up right now is we're right at about 7.8 degrees. Yanmar recommends 8 degrees or less, so we are just right there. We're using every little bit we possibly can here. So what I'm going to do is I decided to use a very long drill bit that I'm able to put my gauge directly on there and see and make sure that I'm going at that right angle. So right there is ready to go. I'm going to put a little pilot hole here. I know exactly where my center line is, so I can follow that. And then I'll just make sure that I get the right angle as well. So let's pull this bad boy out of the way so I have a little bit of working room in here. Drill exploratory hole number 1. So again, what my goal is to get it to right at 7.8 and kind of hold that. So that's the angle that I'll be drilling. And then to keep it even with the center line here as well. So we'll see how well that actually works out. So that is right there, right at that angle. Okay, this is the oldest, rustiest drill bit ever. Okay, so that probably just busted me through into that bulkhead. Staying. I wish I had better tools. This, a better drill bit would be phenomenal right now. Oh yeah, that's through my hole.
Check it from the outside.
Oh, I'm nervous.
No, I'm too short to like.
You too low?
I'm too low.
You see a hole? You see a hole? There's a hole.
There's a hole in a boat.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right, the center line where it falls, right here. Its center line is actually right about here. So we're just a little bit off, which is fine for this part of the project because we're still just testing things out. This, of course, will be made much larger when the stern tube comes through, but it will allow me now to put up something here, tie my line to it, and run it all the way through where that template is, and just make sure that I'm right, that I have enough clearance from the end of the hull here to where the center of the prop shaft will be. And because you have to have a certain amount of clearance for the prop to be able to clear, of course, and then we just figure out exactly where the strut's going to be that we need to build, and kind of go from there. A lot more steps to it, but at least we have a hole in the boat. Okay, this is time for a little bit of bragging, but hey, I get a get so few wins, I'm going to take this one. So if we look right now, you can see that the string is right dead in the center there. Down here, it's really, really damn close to being in the center there. But wait until you see it out the back end. So okay, this was just, I mean, you saw it, it was random, absolutely random how this all worked out. But come down here, the string underneath here, bam, right dead center. Somehow it was perfect. Absolutely perfect how I drilled it. Zero chance that I'm going to be able to duplicate that on the other side, but again, I am taking the win. This is awesome. So now I need to measure out all of that to see what size our actual stern tube does need to be, exactly where the prop's going to lie, all those different things. So that's the next project, but the big thing, stumbling block, was getting that hole drilled, and with this type of success, I'm cloud 9 right now, so gonna play around with this a bit more and get those things ordered, and then we should be able to hopefully get the stern tube installed in the next couple of weeks once that arrives, and then it's getting the other steps, getting that the engine bed glassed in, getting that all gel coated in there, the flow coat, getting all that stuff, and then we can finally get the engine in. But next couple of months, it will be in place.
Yeah, to pieces, yeah, I need it. Once you bend them all.